I've been modeling guitars in the last little while, and I did a Crybaby, and I decided I want to stick with that theme. And so I want to model a Boss guitar pedal. I don't know which particular one, but some kind of Boss guitar pedal. And it's actually really, really easy. So I'll show you how I do it. I'm in Blender 2.76. I'm in a side view, the right ortho view. I've got my screencast keys on, and I've got a side picture that I found on the internet of one of the Boss pedals. So here's how I'm going to do this. I'm going to go Shift A, and I'm going to add a plane, rotate Y 90 degrees. Okay, I'm going to position this over to the side. Let's go. There you go. I'm going to go into edit mode, and I want to see my vertices and wireframe. Okay, get myself all set up. Okay, I'm going to grab box select. Okay, press B and box select these points. I'm going to move out to the back there. Deselect. I'm going to grab these top points, and I'm going to bring them up to the highest point on this bottom section. I'm going to make this in 3 parts. All right, so I'm going to bring it up to there, and then I'm going to deselect and add an edge loop, and I'm going to bring it to right about that point there. Deselect, box select this, and pull it down. So now I've got that nice incline here. Okay, in order to do this part here, that slope, I'm going to deselect there, and I'm going to hit K to choose the knife tool. And I'm going to choose a point here, roughly sort of, in line with the horizontal part. And I'm going to come across just like this, and I'm going to cut. And if I want to make that straight, I'm just going to go SZ0. Now I'm going to deselect and select that one lone point up there, and I'm going to delete it. And that's going to get rid of all this section. Now I can grab these points, and I can just move them forward a bit. Now I got that little slope part there. We're almost done for the base. I've got to select everything, turn it, hit E to extrude, and I'm going to pull it out, as wide as I think I want my pedal to be. Now I can adjust that later. I'm going to select all, Control N to make sure my normals are facing the right way, and I've done the bottom section. Now there's more to do on this, and so let's go ahead and do that right now. Let's go into edit mode, and I want to, using the knife tool, cut like this. It doesn't have to be perfectly in line. Oh, hit the space bar. It doesn't have to be perfectly, symmetrical and everything like that. Okay, I'm going to select that point, and I'm going to cut right there. All right, so I'm making sure I've got quads. 1, 2, 3, 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4. Everything's 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to take these two, and I'm going to put those together as well. It doesn't even matter if it's straight. Okay, now I want to round this out. So I'm going to select these 2 front edges there, and I want the back part, but I'm going to have to select them in 2 parts. So hold Shift, do that, no problem. Now I'm ready to bevel. So go Control B, pull on your mouse like that to get a nice curve. Now, did I miss these front ones? I think maybe I let them go. So let's make sure I've got everything. Control B, pull, yeah, I got everything. And give it a nice bunch of segments by rolling your mouse wheel. Okay, so that's going to be now curved. Now, to bevel the rest of it, the best way is to go in this order. Grab the tops, like that, those verticals, and then that edge there, that'll select the whole thing. Control B, pull back, roll your mouse up a few, okay, and that's it. One more part to bevel, well, except for the bottom, the top. Click on the edge here and hold Shift and Alt, and that'll select the whole edge loop. Control B, pull down, give it some segments, and there you go. Now, this is what it looks like so far. All right, so maybe we want to scale it in the X a little bit more. Okay, now that's without smoothing. I can smooth it as well, and this is roughly how it looks. All right, now I may not want it fully smooth, so we can deal with that later, but let's go ahead and just do the bottom while I'm at it. So let's go back into edit mode, and I'm going to choose face. I'm going to grab both of these faces. I'm going to hit I to inset, and I'm going to pull it in a little bit, and I'm going to hit E to extrude and come down in the Z direction a little bit. And I think I'll just let that go, leave that flat. But I want to come back up and get now this edge here, hold down Alt to go all the way around it. Control B, I want to bevel this edge a little bit, and I put 2 segments there. That's it for the beveling of this part of the unit. And again, like I was saying, you could switch this over to a slightly lesser smoothing if you wanted to, but that's what that would look like right there. Now, to do the rest of it, what I'll do is I'm going to hide this, and I'm going to come back to my side view, Shift A, add a plane, rotate Y90, edit mode. I want to see my vertices and wireframe. And I'm going to move the whole thing. I probably should have done that before. Up to here. Okay, no problem. I'm going to grab this point, go and grab whatever. I'm just going to pull it down here. And I'm going to grab these points around there for that one. And this one to about there. Done. Select it all. E to extrude. We'll bring it out and we can adjust the size later. Check the normals. Somehow I ended up in texture paint. Okay, fine. Okay, if you want to have a look at what we got so far, we got that. And you know, we may need to adjust the positions. One thing we should do is we'll put origin to geometry for all these pieces as we build them. And then if I want to look at the back, I believe it's Control 1. And I've got this, so I can scale this in the X, but it is a little bit smaller than the main unit. Just move it into place. Okay. Okay, we'll go ahead and we'll bevel this. Super easy. Vertical edges first. Grab all 4, Control B, pull, give it a few segments, deselect, top, Control B, pull down, give it a few segments, done. We're not going to do the bottom because it's going to fit flush right in. Okay, smooth if you want. Now we used 65 here, so I'll do the same thing. Okay, that's how it's turning out so far. All right, if you need to, you can pull it down a tiny bit, you know, to get it to fit snug right in there. So far, so good. One more piece to go, and then we'll model all the other stuff, or as much as I'm going to do anyhow in this video. Okay, Shift A, plane, rotate Y90. Okay, I'll bring this up. Okay, grab this point right down to here. This point to about there. Don't get confused by the round part at the beveling there. This part to about there. Good, good enough. E to extrude, send it out a ways. Control N to get the normals facing outwards. Let's do origin geometry right now. Let's bring everything back and see how she sits. Let's go Control 1. Yeah, we need to adjust this. I'm just not sure if the pedal is supposed to be larger than the base. We could look at that in a bit. I can always adjust that. Okay, I'm going to move this downwards. Actually, let me do that while I'm looking at the picture. I might need to move it forward a bit, downwards and forwards. That's fine. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and bevel this. Okay, all the vertical lines. Go, please. Go to the other room. Thank you. My dogs have a tendency to go to the bathroom on my rug down there. Not information you particularly need, but I know that's a sign they need to go to the bathroom, so I'll take a break in just a moment. Sides, top, release first. Bottom as well, because we're going to see this edge. And Let's smooth that. Smooth that. We just arbitrarily chose 65. That's it. There's, you know, the main part of the. Sometimes when that happens, you have to adjust the smoothing angle. I got other ways to deal with it. I'm not going to worry right now about smoothing though. But those are the main parts of the pedal right there. Okay, and it's just debatable as to, I kind of think that this wants to come out a little bit and sort of fit over, but either way, it looks good. Okay, so we're, you know, we've made this part already, and then we would just go on and do the rest. So I wanted to initially show you how you could quickly do that that part of the work. All right, so I thought I could turn that. All right, so I'm going to take a quick break and let the dogs go to the bathroom and grab myself a coffee, and then we'll get into modeling the rest of the cool stuff on this. Okay, I'm back. So let's just knock off some of the quick things that we can do. You'll notice that, let me go back to this, that there is a screw right there. Okay, so we're going to do that. So I'm going to come to this edit mode, and I think I'm going to choose this edge right there. Shift S, cursor is selected. That's going to put my 3D cursor right in that spot, so when I bring in a circle to start making that screw, it's going to come in, you know, in that spot, which is close to where I want it. So back into object mode, choose a circle, rotate Y 90, and scale it down. Let's slide it down just a little bit. So I'm going to put it roughly in that position. Now there's a sort of a ring or like a washer around that. So I'm going to come into that not in Flash, into that object, I guess. F to make a face, E to extrude, and I'm going to come out just a little bit. I'm going to select the whole thing, Control N to make sure my normals are facing the right way, and deselect. And in edge select mode, I'm going to put a small bevel, so I'm going to grab that edge, Control B, I'm going to pull back, and I'm going to give maybe 2 segments. And I think I want to make that a little bit thinner, so I'm going to scale it in the X. So I'm going to leave that right there. And no, I'm not. I'm going to move it a bit. Okay, so roughly in that position. Now I'm going to use a bit of that object to create my screw. It might as well. So I'm going to go back into that, and I'm going to grab what do I want to grab. Maybe I'll grab that face. Shift D to copy it. P to make it a new selection, new object essentially. So when I come to object mode, I can pull that away. All right, and it's the exact same size, and I've got that. So I'm going to scale that down a little bit smaller so I can see a little bit of the ring around it. All right, and go into edit mode. I'm going to grab that face, and I'm going to hit E to extrude. I'm going to pull out, and I'm going to Control B to bevel. I'm going to pull back on my mouse like that, and I'm going to roll my mouse wheel up to add a bunch of segments to it to round it out, and it's going to be like that. Okay, and that's going to be my screw, and I'll just double check that I like the size. So push it back to there. Yeah, I do like that size. Now, in order to make it a screw, I'm going to put some kind of pattern in it, like a cross type thing. So I'm going to select it again, and I am going to, actually I don't need to go into it. I'm just going, because it's centered, so I'm just going to go Shift S, cursor to selected. So I'm going to bring in an object at that position. Control A, and I'm going to bring in a cube, scale it down, pull it out a little bit, keep scaling it down and positioning it. I'm going to scale it in the Z to make it thinner, pull it out. I'm going to scale it in the X to make it thinner that way, All right, and I'm going to scale it in the Y like that. And I'll just keep shaping it till I have roughly what I want. All right, so that's going to go in there like that. Here, let me zoom in a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to Shift D to copy it, and I'm going to rotate X90, and I'm going to select the other one and join them together. So now I have this cross-like thing that I can push into my screw, and I can use this to cut away, and I'll have that pattern. So I'm going to select my actual screw, and I'm going to do a Boolean. Come to my modifiers, choose Boolean difference, and with the eyedropper, I'm going to click on the X. Now, when that happens, go back a couple steps, make sure you haven't done it, position it, and with this X selected, or that object selected, go to Object, Apply, Rotation and Scale, and try again. Okay, Boolean difference, select it. Now, when that happens, and you already did, let me come back. When you already did the apply rotation and scale, just go into the object and first of all make sure all the normals are facing the right way, and also try your other object. All right, I haven't done apply rotation and scale to that one, and check that your normals are facing the right way. In other words, Control N to recalculate the normals. Now it should work. So let's go to difference, select the X. Very troubling. And frustrating too. Okay, let's back up a few steps. As many steps as I can go. How far can I go? All right, I want to try Boolean just with that piece right there. See? Now that works right there. All right, if I do that, that works. So, oh, you know what? Maybe I copied it. There we go, we have that. All right, never mind. I don't know what happened there, and that's very frustrating, and it's a drag that I got that on video, but what a waste of your time, right? Shift D, rotate X90, join, apply rotation and scale. Let's hope it works this time. All right, let's try a Boolean again. Well, it worked that time. So I don't know what that was all about, but I'm not gonna worry about it. Smooth it, looks all weird. In fact, actually, before I do that, let's join those two together, smooth the whole thing, and auto smooth, I don't know, 45. Okay, let's make sure that this is nicely inserted. How does that look? Does that look okay to you? Okay. Okay, I want to have one on the other side, so I'm going to select it, and I'm going to come to my modifiers. I'm going to choose mirror along the X, and what I want to mirror across this object. So I'm going to choose that, and it should put it in the other one. Why is everything going wrong today? Jesus. Mirror along the X. geez, am I in some weird, I'm in some weird orientation or something. Well, just choose another axis if that goes wrong for you. Okay, I'm gonna save that. That's fine with me. Okay, well, we got the bolts done. I'll tell you. All right, now there is a bolt at the back here too, and I'll come to, okay, this thing here. So let's get that done. Okay, so I'm going to choose that face, Shift S, cursor selected, come out, and I'm going to bring in another circle, rotate X90, pull it out a bit, and scale it. Now it is rather large, and it's sort of sitting down there a little bit, maybe a little bit smaller than that. Okay, edit mode, fill it, E to extrude, pull it out. Okay, notice the discoloration of the polys, so select them all, Control N, that'll take care of that. All right, now what we're going to do with this is I'm going to pull it out just a tiny bit more, and we're going to just hit S to scale. Just do that kind of thing. And I am also going to, no, I'm not going to do anything else. Okay, so I'm going to go back into it, and I'm going to shift, I'm sorry, A to deselect, Shift and Alt, and click on one of these lines, and I'm going to get all of those polys, and I'm going to choose I and hit I again, and now I'm going to move my mouse in just a little bit, and I'm going to see that that separates these into individual polys. I'm going to come over here to extrude individual. I'm going to click that button and pull down on my mouse just very gently, very slowly, and that starts pulling them out about there. That's good enough. I'm going to click to accept, and now before I deselect anything, I'm going to bevel from the origin, which is right here. So put my mouse kind of close to that. I'm going to go Control B and pull back, and as soon as I start seeing that, that's probably good enough. Don't go too far. Deselect, come out, and have a look at it. All right. Let's focus in on that. Okay, so there's that. Now there's one more thing I want to do to this though. Back in edit mode, I want to select that face. I want to extrude, and I want to pull it out a bit. And then I want to Control B, bevel back, pull down, give just maybe 2 segments, and that'll round it out a little bit there. Give that extra little piece. All right. Now I sort of feel like that's too thin. It needs to be longer, so I'm going to scale it in the Y a little bit, just like that. And now because this is slanted, I need to position it better. So I'm going to rotate it. The X is coming out at us, so I'm going to rotate around the X. So rotate X. I'm going to turn it, and if it goes too quick, just hold the Shift, and you can move it a little bit in smaller increments. And that's it. Now to help you position this, you can switch to local, and then you can go just like that, and then pull it into there. That's pretty good. Hopefully that's not too big, but a little bit of a design element. So there you go. All right, cool. We're getting somewhere. Now, on top of these pedals is some text and a little rubber pad for you to put your foot on, generally with the logo, but I'm going to do something like this. Okay, so a little bit of a pattern on it, and imagine that's a piece of rubber or whatever. So I'm going to come to the top face, and let's go back to global. Select that, Shift S, cursor to selected. My next object will come in right near the top there. And by the way, one thing I can do, because I feel like I keep moving this around a bit, is I'm going to join these together. Now if I've smoothed one thing and I join them, they're all going to get the same smoothing. So I'll just be aware of that. And I only have to do this once because I've mirrored it, so it's the same object. All right, so I'm going to bring in a plane. And look down here, scale in the X, scale in the Y. Scale in the the X a little bit more. You know, just get a sense of where you want this. Now, we are going to position this in a bit. But first, we're going to go into it and give it a little bit of thickness, so extrude up just a tiny bit, just a bit. And just to be on the safe side, we'll go Object, Apply, Rotation and Scale, back in. Let's bevel the vertical edges, so grab that one, and this one, and this one. Control B, pull back, roll your mouse maybe 3 times, and we'll bevel the top, so grab the top. So what did I do there? Shift Alt and click to get the whole thing. Control B, pull back, maybe just one segment like that. Okay. Now I think maybe I'll go ahead and I'll put the pattern on it already, so it's easier, and then we'll rotate the whole thing. All right. So let's just choose this object. Shift S, cursor selected, and I'm going to bring in a cube and scale it down really small. This is going to blow the poly count, but whatever. Scale it in the Z so it's nice and flat. All right, that's fine. I'll do my apply scale because I only changed the scale, and I think I will just grab the top face, and I can bevel using that. Period key will let you zoom right in and refocus on an object. Control B, pull back like that. Give it a couple segments, and that will catch some light. As you can see now, it's even easier to see. Okay, bring that down to the surface, and that might even be too high, so scale in the Z. Just a flat thing like a little tile or something, or brick. All right, so that's what I want. And now let's position this up here. Okay, I'm going to add an array, and I'm going to give it a little bit of distance, not too much, and I'm going to increase the count and see how many I can get. See what that would look like. You know, center it up. You know, does that look good? Does that look is it too high? Do I need to bring it down a little bit? Like that maybe. Let's try that, and let's add another array, and this one is where is it? This one here. Sometimes I forget. That's the second one, of course. I'm going to put that as 0, and this says 1.2 right there, but it's going the wrong direction, so just change it to minus, and then increase the count. And check it out, see if it looks okay, and then we can position it a little bit as well. How's that look? Look like your foot would stick on that. And if you like it, apply the arrays. I can still move the whole thing if I want, and that kind of thing. And then once I'm sold on it, select both, Control J. All right, I've got that as a solid, as one piece now. All right, so we are now going to try to apply this. So let's go to the side view, and we're going to rotate in the X direction, rotate X. So we'll get it roughly in place at first. Whoa, start moving it down, and touchdown. Let's see how well we did. I think we did pretty good the first time. I just want to double check that it's kind of centered. And it's going to change things as I move it along the incline a bit, but I still think we got it pretty good. Pretty good. Scale in the X. I'll change the shape of the cubes a bit, but I'm okay with that. I think that's pretty good for this. So we're just going to join them. Save it frequently. It's coming along. Looking kind of cool. Okay, so what's next? Well, we got an input, we got a couple of knobs, and that's basically it. It's a very simple model. Let's go ahead and do the input on the side. Okay, so come over to here, edit mode. I'm going to choose this line here. This is a good place to at least bring my next object in. Shift S, cursor to selected, come out, so it'll come in around there. It's not a bad place, so I'm going to bring in a circle, rotate Y90, scale it down a bit. We can build it right there, and then we can position it. Is that how big we want it? I don't know if we want it quite that big. All right, whatever. We can exaggerate a bit too. Let's go into edit mode, put a face on it, and now what I'm going for is a circle-like thing, like a washer, and then a hexagonal bolt, and then this piece where the guitar will go in. You'll notice there's no actual hole. I'm not going to dig into the body and do a boolean because that's going to mess up my my surface and stuff. So I'm just going to do it this way. So I want to make a washer-like structure, but coming out of that through that hexagonal bolt, I'm going to continue a circular piece off of this washer. So I will show you what I mean. All right, let's hit the period key and zoom right in. All right, so let's extrude, and we're going to make the thickness of the bolt. That's probably good enough right there. And now I'm going to press I to inset, and I come right down, and I'm going to make the part where the guitar plugs in. So E to extrude, and I'm going to come out. All right, I can adjust this size. I again, like that, and then E to extrude. I'm going to pull it in a certain way, as I don't really care how far. So I'm going to have that kind of structure. Now before I leave this, I'm going to go to edge mode, and I'm going to grab that ring or that edge, Control B. I'm going to bevel this decently, and then these are smaller edges, so I'm going to grab them separately. If I can, there, and not that one, and there. Control B, pull back, and give maybe just one segment like that. Okay, so we'll have that, and I can smooth this whole thing later. That is probably going to be too big, but we'll worry about that later. Now I'm going to select that object and go Shift S, cursor to selected, and I'm going to bring in another object, and that is going to be a cylinder. But before I click anything, I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to choose 6 for the vertices, and then rotate Y90 and scale it down, scale it in the X, pull it back to about that size, but that's a bit too thick that way, so scale it in the X. There we go. Place it on the washer, I guess we'll call it the washer. All right. Now, as I look at this, that washer looks a little bit big. You know, we could change that if we wanted to. Maybe we will. Before we do that, let's select the hexagonal thing, rotation to scale, and come into it, choose the edges or surface, top surface, and bevel this, and give it a couple of segments so it catches some light and it doesn't look so sharp. Okay, so it's going to be like that. Now, let's grab both of these, select both of these, and just pull them out for a second. Let's think about this. I grab this face, and I hit the Control plus. I keep coming out and making it my selection bigger and bigger. I could now scale that. But I don't want to scale it in the X direction, just in the Y and Z. Scale, Shift X, and I could bring it down, and I might even want to squish it a bit. I'm not sure if I wanted to do it that way. All of that, maybe. Scale in the X. Did I do that right? Scale in the X. Let's try that and see what it looks like. It's thinner, it's a bit smaller. Now this bolt is bothering me. Scale that in the X. And of course this is not going to stick out that far either. So let's take care of that. And probably the best way to, well, unless you can grab, now see, because I beveled this, it's tough, although sometimes you can get in there and get that row. If you get the very tip of it, you can then go Control plus, Control plus, Control plus, you know, that kind of thing. Just go to that point, and then we could pull it back in to maybe there or something. I'll have a look at that and see, you know. Let's grab all of it, bring it back to where it would go on the body. And you know, I actually like the size of that, and I don't really want to change it. I think what I'll do is I'm going to join these together. Did I get everything? Yeah. I'm going to join those and just make sure it's in the right spot. I might want to move it back on the body just a little to where, you know, just past this area here. And I want one on the other side as well. Now some of them have 2 inputs and 2 outputs. I'm just going to go for one, so I'm going to select that, and we're going to try a mirror again. Mirror across the Z based on the body. And there it is, yeah. Let's hit apply. And now they're both there. Cool. All right, coming along. All right, so on the front, or is it on the back? On the front there is AC. You know, we plug it into the wall, and I'm not showing it in that particular image, but we'll go ahead and make one anyhow. So I'm going to select the front, Shift S, cursor to selected, and come out. And I'm going to bring in a plane here, rotate X90. I'm going to scale it down and zoom in and zoom out, zoom in and zoom out. So it's nicely centered, but I want it down near the bottom, and I want it rectangular a little bit. Bring it a little bit closer. Okay, I want to give a bit of thickness to this as well, so extrude just a very small amount like that, but I'm still going to bevel those edges if I can select them. I'm always beveling edges, or most edges anyhow, not every single one, but most of them. All right, Control B, pull back, give it a couple of segments, maybe 3. We'll get that, and I'm also going to bevel this part. Okay, and I won't bevel the very back because it's just going to touch the surface here and actually be probably a little embedded like that. Okay, and I'm just trying to think about what the input is going to be like for this. Probably just a circle on there. It's very repetitive, yeah. So I'm going to select this face, Shift S, cursor selected, come out, bring in a circle, rotate X90, scale it down, F to give it a face, E to extrude. My polys are looking weird, Control N. Come out and just have a look at it. Okay. Yeah, I'll just leave it in the center. That's fine. Now, actually make it a bit bigger. Edit mode, select that face, inset, and extrude back. And I won't be able to go too far before I hit this. But before I do, I want it inset again, nice and small, E to extrude, and I'm going to pull out like a little pin, and I'm even going to bevel that. Yes, I am. One segment. Okay, I'm gonna go into edge select mode because I gotta bevel this. Those two edges there. Control B, pull back, 1, 2. Okay, almost done, not quite though. There's one more thing I wanna do. I wanna come back to this plate. Actually, I'm gonna pull the whole thing out. Actually, let's take this and join it to this. But I wanna come back into this plate and I wanna take, if I can get this back face, and I want to hit E and S. I want to scale it out a little bit like that, and then E, and I want to come back a little bit like that, so it's got a little bit of a border on it, and then I'm going to bring it to touch. There we go, like that. Okay, it's not all that visible, but okay. All right, well, let's join this to the body, save it. So we can plug it in now, we can plug our guitar in there, and now we basically got to do the knobs. All right, so everything is joined so far, right? Actually, those pieces are. I think I may, let me check the smoothing here. I've got 65. 65. I think I'm going to start joining these pieces together. Even this. Okay. Just so it's all one thing. Okay. Let's save all that. So we got one piece. Great. Okay. Yeah, that was one thing that's bothering me, is just the positioning of it, but it's okay, I think. If I really wanted to, I could Shift S, cursor to center, origin to 3D cursor, and geometry to 3D. You know, everything's all set. I'm not using the diagram anymore there. It's just a much nicer. Okay. Now knobs we are going to put on. I did the bass. Now, often I would do little feet or little screws and a battery compartment, but we're not going to see that, so we'll just leave that. But we're going to do these knobs, and you know, there's different ways of doing them. What I'll do is, because I'm right in the center, I'm just going to go Shift A, bring in a circle, I think, and bring it up. And I'm gonna. No, I'm not going to do that. I want to leave it in the center. I'm actually going to move this to the next layer. I'm going to work on the next layer. Okay, so there it is. And I'm going to come into it, fill it, E to extrude. I'm going to pull it up a bit. I think I'm actually going to do this in 2 parts. So I'm going to build the knob part of this right now. This part here, I'm going to build that, and then I'm going to attach this part. I find it easier to do it that way. So I'm just going to do this, and you know, sometimes it takes a couple of times to go through this. So you know, whether or not it's going to all work the first time, I'm not sure. But I'm going to look down on this, and what I think I'll do actually is let's hide that background image. We don't need that. I'm looking right down on it. Let's go ahead and Shift D to copy this and bring it up to here and scale it down a certain distance and position this somewhere, and then lengthen it, scale in the Z so that it goes all the way through. Right, that's what I want to do with it, all the way through. Yes, we'll try all the way through. Well, we'll see what it looks like. Okay, so I got one of those cylinders there all the way through. I'm going to go into edit mode and select that cylinder like a cutting tool. All right, I'm going to come over here to spin. I'm going to click spin, and then before I do anything, I'm going to look over here. I want to choose the angle. I want 360 degrees because I want it to go all the way around the circle, and I want 7 of these. All right. Now, I think I'm going to backtrack a little bit, come out, and I want to scale this down a bit. Okay, I want it a bit smaller, and then I'll make sure that it goes all the way through. Scale in the Z. All right, trial and error, like I said. Edit, select it, spin 367. Okay, now what you need to do is select them all now and remove doubles, and it got rid of a bunch of these. And then Control N to make sure all the normals are facing the right way. Now, we're not done. This is a cutting tool. I'm going to select my main cylinder in the middle, come over to Boolean, modifier, Boolean, difference, and choose that and hit apply. Choose those and hide them, and this is what I get. All right, looks pretty wild. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, fine. Okay, so that has done its job. All right, and I can now unhide those and delete them. And I'm going to select this and go cursor to selected, and I'm going to bring in a circle and we'll scale it a bit. That's going to form the base of our knob. Come into it, F for a face, E to extrude. I'm going to bring it up, and then I'm going to scale it in like this. And we'll see. I can adjust all this. I'm going to come back and grab this edge, E to extrude, and I'm going to pull that down like that. Okay, and it seems to me that the whole thing needs to be scaled up. And just have a look at this one. Okay, maybe scaled more like that. And I'm going to grab both of these and scale them out a bit more, and then this one and pull it down. Okay. I think I'll grab this this top one and bevel. Let me try that. Yeah. All right. And smooth. Whoops. Smooth that. I don't necessarily want to smooth that right now. And not particularly feeling this. Let's go ahead and smooth. And let's try 65 like before. Yeah, that kind of blows this out a little bit. So let's not. Well, yeah, we are going to have to scale that, aren't we? Or we could subdivide it. That might be a good plan at some point. We could look at that. But this needs to be adjusted there, something like that. Well, one thing we can do to improve this is we can come in here. Let's have a look here. And yeah, we are recording. That's always a good thing. I can go Shift S, cursor selected, and let's bring in a cylinder. Let's switch it back up to 32. Scale, and we'll use this in a Boolean. Let's select this. Boolean difference. Select that. Hide that. Okay, a little bit better. A little bit better. See if I can bevel this edge. If it doesn't bevel well, and it might not, that's okay. Yeah, that's a bit weird. So instead what I'll do is I'll just grab this face and I'll scale it. That'll still catch some light. A little bit like that. Okay, so where are we at with this? Let me see why it's bothering me. Maybe it's just that it's too tall. Scale the Z. I gotta get rid of that. Oh. I just need to work on this, I think, a little bit. I may want to bring this back to basics. You know, when you're not happy, sometimes you just do stuff again a little bit. Extrude, I'm going to bring this up. Extrude, bring it up and scale. Let's see. Well, that's not what I wanted to do. Extrude, scale. Stop it. That's not what I wanted to do either. That's what I wanted to do. Too many. There we go. It's turning into a whole other style of knob. Well, we might like it. We just might. I don't know if Boss would like it. All right. Bevel that one too. Wow, that is different. All right, well, let's see if I can join these and what it's like. Let's bring this back and see what it would look like on the actual pedal itself. That was one of the problems, was that it was just too big. You know, we were just too close to it. Yeah, it's kind of cute. I can tone that down as well if I wanted to. And we might want to. We very well might want to. Okay, we'll sink that in, and let's just see what it looks like. Yes. Oh, it's looking much better in that size and with the pedal. Let me just think about this for a second here. Okay. Yeah, I think we can redeem this. So what I would have to do is just come into this accent graph. How about that? In fact, I might be able to just go up and down this way to there. Let's try that, and let's just try just a general scale like that, and then let's grab from the bottom up like that, and I'm going to pull it up because I don't want that much of a slope like that, exactly like that. Just what I wanted. Okay, the only thing I don't like, I'm not sure I'm really crazy about how thick this is. So I could scale shift Z this, you know, just to make it a little narrower. And then I'm much happier now with that. Shift D to make another one. I actually really like that. Who knew? Okay, we're close to being done. I'm just going to make another type of knob and put a bit of text on here, and you can see how quick and easy it is to make this foot pedal. All right, so let's just select the main body of this, and I'm going to add another circle. And it doesn't matter where this one is located. I'll put it right, it's gonna be right about there. Okay. All right, let's go in. F, E to extrude. Okay, something like that. And we'll go inset, E down, scale a bit. I'll catch a bit of light. We'll do some beveling in a little bit. Before I get too carried away, I want to make a little base or pole for it. E to extrude, down just a little bit. Okay, and on this one, we're going to do select all those polys, hit I twice, scale it in a tiny bit, and then choose extrude individual, pull down on our mouse just a little bit before losing that selection. Control B, pull back to bevel just a little bit, and that is the effect we're going for. We can now bevel some of these edges. I think actually let's put an edge loop in here, like that right there. And there may not be anything. No, we're not beveling anything. We're just moving her down, putting her in, and making her probably smaller. Yes, I think smaller. Let's see what that's like. Just a little knob in there. Although I might want it to sit up a little higher. It's almost lost in there. Okay, face select mode, pull that down a little bit more, and then pull everything down like that. I think something like that. Well, you know what, ends up being roughly where it was before, doesn't it? Now, in terms of smoothing this thing, if I hit smooth, it'll blow it out completely, but I usually come over and do edge split and just apply, and then, you know, that's it pretty much. Now on these units, there's usually like an LED light there as well. So for that, you could go Shift A, circle, scale it down pretty small, you know, that kind of thing. F to give it a face, and just give it a tiny bit of thickness here, like that. Just make sure the polys are facing the right way. Might as well bevel, might as well. Control B, you know, even just one segment, and catch a bit of light, touch down, you know, just like that. And then that might even be too much, you know, like that even. It almost looks inset. Shift A, cursor selected, and what am I doing? Shift A, maybe we'll bring in a UV sphere, scale it down. Actually, before I do that, let's bring it up and go into it, and in wireframe mode and vertex, we can delete all the lower half of it there, and then we come back. Okay, we'll bring it down and we'll scale it so it fits just over that. All right, and I'm probably going to scale it in the Z, but I want it maybe up like that and smooth it. you know, and that would be the LED right there. Maybe I do want this up a little bit, like that. Take the two of them, put them together. Let's join this to the body. Did I join it? Yes, I did. And these things, I guess I'm going for it, right? And I guess I'm going for this guy too. And yeah, it's going well. And the final thing could be maybe put some text on there if you like. So let's see what would be cool for that. Rotate X 180. Ah, jeez. And then now rotate Y 180. Oh boy. Oh jeez, everything. Rotate Z 180. There we go. Let's come over to the font section over here. Choose center. Get it roughly centered. Choose a font. That one. We're just going quick here. No, not that one. I was just kidding. Jeez, I gotta download some good fonts someday. Some really. Well, that says rock right there, so maybe that's what it means. Not too exciting, but what are we gonna call this? Blender pedal. Okay, how about that? Blender pedal. And I think I'll adjust the line spacing like that. Give it some depth and some extrusion and up the resolution. How does that look? Okay, that's a little bit much. Okay, cool. And then we will rotate this in the X. And to help us out, we'll switch over to local. And we'll insert it. We're not worrying about back faces or anything. Wow, that's quite prominent. But when your foot hits it, it'll be hitting the text before it hits this little pad area there. But that's okay. Okay, select the text. Alt-C, convert it to a mesh. Join it. I think we did it. I think that's it. Okay, once you're satisfied with it, you can choose to do whatever you like, but I'll give it a quick OpenGL render. There you go. That's it. Thanks for watching.